Today, we're going to be looking at how it all started in Warhammer 40k. What is it, how is it, and why is it? So we're going to find out what Warhammer 40k is all about while drinking alcohol. Let me open my alcohol now. I have my special alcohol glass. Just pretend in your mind's eye, you can actually, you know what, editor man, edit in a wine glass. No, wait. No, I'm not a single mom. Edit in a vodka bottle. There it is. I'm poured and ready. My headset is on. I'm ready to listen and learn. Warhammer 40k lore, explained for beginners by Warhammer Explained. What a channel name for one thing. It really gets to the point of it, you know?
Craziest, most complex and deep lore I've ever seen in anything fiction. It is literally a meme in the community that trying to explain Warhammer quickly is impossible.
Well, what the fuck? Why am I here with this video if it's gonna take me like 2 hours, man? This is a 15-minute video. This doesn't sound like something I can do in. Maybe I just need to. More alcohol might help. Oh yeah, that's my father coming out.
But I actually think this is something of a rite of passage for Warhammer lore YouTube channels
look at that.
Attempt to explain Warhammer.
I love that guy.
And so that's what I want to do with this video.
Is that a candy cane? Is that like fake a meme? Or is he actually... Is one of the factions like Santa?
I'm gonna do my version of explaining all of Warhammer lore as quickly as possible.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. If it was longer than 50 minutes, I probably couldn't pay attention. Nobody could. There's like hour-long videos. I couldn't do it. Present setting.
So there are a couple of things that I need to establish here before we actually get into what the lore is. The first thing to establish is the character of the Emperor of Mankind. Now, other fiction has an emperor or a central imperial figure, and Warhammer is no different, but I would argue this character is the coolest out of all the other emperors.
All right. It looks like an edgelord made his first paladin drawing when he was like 15, bro. Why has he got massive claws and a flaming sword? Why is he smiling? Why is the armor golden? Why is his knee screaming?
Couple things about the Emperor. Number one, he's a perpetual. This means he's essentially immortal. He began with humanity a long time ago and has been living alongside us for centuries. It's actually recently revealed that he's Alexander the Great, or at least he was.
Yeah, that deserves a shot. He's Alexander the Great? Yeah, that's stupid as hell. I probably should have gotten somebody a bit weaker for my first drunk lore video. Ooh.
Was Alexander the Great. This is one of his many lives that he had, and he dies and he comes back to life. And so because he is a perpetual, eventually he starts trying to guide humanity towards a better future.
Okay, that's
nice. The next
nice.
concept we have to keep in mind is the warp, or the immaterium. In Warhammer, there's another universe that runs parallel to our own, and this is known as the immaterium, or the warp. And the warp is...
Yeah, that was like 7 words I didn't know, and that was all stupid. All right, I'm drinking again. It's getting easier.
Many different things. I mean, you could think of it as just a...
Is she in the warp? Can I take my shot back? It's not stupid anymore. Yowza!
Demonic dimension full of chaos gods. It's also a place that characters are able to use to do space travel. It's also a well of crazy powers and ability that allow certain beings in our universe known as psychers to be able to tap into. Most of the...
Is that Dragon Ball noise?
Universe known as psychers.
That was the Dragon Ball noise.
Into most of the crazy witchcraft and powers that you see in 40k are psychers tapping into the warp. And in fact, it's actually explained in the lore of Warhammer that in our modern day, like where we're at right now, a lot of the tales of different wizards and witches and magic and all.
So they just made up that all wizards and witches and ever we're just sucking energy from an alternate dimension. I mean, it kind of makes sense. That's pretty much the same as every other magic lore theory and every other video game and movie I've ever watched, right?
A lot of our myths are actually coming from real people that were able to tap into the warp. Okay, next thing we gotta establish is the present setting of Warhammer 40,000.
Okay, we're here.
When the game was originally conceived, it was just in the 40th millennia, and there's constant war, and mankind is fighting against the orcs, the Tyranids. But then the lore
they look sick.
In with a lot of stuff that happens leading up to the present day 41st millennium. Currently, the Imperium of Man is a heavily centralized, authoritarian regime. They're brutal, they're fascist, they destroy people that won't worship the emperor, they fight constant wars against
fascism?
other aliens.
Wait, I can't say that.
They're fascist, they destroy people that won't worship the emperor, they fight constant wars against other aliens, they take advantage of hive worlds where most of the humans grow up as
humans are terrible people,
and they mine resources that are then sent to Terra.
Okay, so in the Warhammer universe, humans are terrible people. That's 8 terribles. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's probably what would happen.
Earth. The Emperor himself is interred upon the Golden Throne. It's a life-sustaining device that keeps—
Oh! Is that what he looks like? Oh, he's so crusty! Oh! I don't wanna— Why does he want to be there? Why does he want to be alive? Why did they give him a sword?
his psychic presence alive. The Emperor is also worshipped as a god across the Imperium. It faces countless threats, both external and internal. Chaos continues to corrupt and wage war.
That's a huge man. Is that to scale? Aren't these guys? They're already looking pretty beefy tall. That's a huge man. He kind of looks like a stupid Rudolph from like one of those indie horror games. But you know, carry on.
Corrupt and wage war. Xenos races pose a constant danger, and
Pirate
the
Orc
warp itself is still threatening to expand and engulf all of reality. The Space Marines, the kind of guys you always see depicted on Warhammer art, are out there fighting the good fight, defending the Imperium from heretics, aliens, and other enemies. But frankly, it's not a good time. It's a really dark, crazy place. The Imperium itself, technically the good guys, but also kind of horrible. But now let's Tarantino this, right? Let's go back in time. How did we get here? Let's first talk about the dark age of technology.
Oh, okay.
This goes back to the 25th millennia and lasts all the way to the 29th millennia.
No, I wanted to read all of those things and hyper-focus on one. Mutants appear. What? First human psychers appear. Massive warp storms. So there's just a lot happening all the time.
And lasts all the way to the 29th millennia. During this period, humanity made extraordinary advancements in science, technology,
he doesn't look as cool.
Culture. They developed incredible feats of engineering, interstellar travel, and artificial intelligence. They also discovered the warp and were utilizing the warp in a lot of this technology. They created these warp capable starships that allowed them to travel.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They created terraforming technologies, which also pulled on the power of the warp. And then they made maybe one of the most important things ever, and that is sophisticated AI. So things were going great.
No, ChatGPT's inside Warhammer as well. No, it's all coming true. I'm pouring one out for my homies that are gonna die to ChatGPT in the 40,000th millennia.
For humans, human colonies start spreading throughout the galaxy, and their dominion was massive. But then some bad stuff happened. First thing that happened were these things called the Men of Iron, which were advanced artificial intelligence.
Iron Man?
Yeah, they became sentient and rebelled, turning against humanity and having a massive war. This war was known as the War of Devastation, and it resulted in widespread loss of life. The AI rebellion targeted human settlements, infrastructure, and military forces, causing a crazy amount of destruction. Entire worlds were laid waste, and the conflict escalated.
Big robot war.
To crazy cataclysmic proportions.
What is that? Is that Zack jungling? Why is there so many? Why have they all got singular arm guns? Singular arm miniguns? I feel like that wouldn't be the best weapon of choice for a big robot army, but go crazy.
Humanity did destroy the Men of Iron and win the War of Devastation. But this led to a deep fear and a distrust of advanced artificial intelligence. So as a result, the use of AI and technology was severely restricted.
As it should be.
Adeptus Mechanicus, the religious and technological organization, emerged to preserve the control of technological knowledge.
He doesn't look too happy.
Very similar to what happens in the Dune series, where they also had a war with AI and then swear off AI totally.
Right, I've never seen Dune, so like comparing this to that was stupid. I'm gonna drink for that one. I wish I hadn't drank for Dune. Ugh. Okay, time to pour more. It's been 6 minutes into a 40-minute video and I've already taken 4 shots and I'm already feeling a little bit hungry for some after-drinky snackies.
But things didn't just get better after the War of Devastation. In fact, the warp itself started going crazy in the galaxy, probably because of the advancement of all these humans and their emotional imprint upon it. A bunch of...
Wait. You're telling me emotions affect the alternate reality that makes the wizards good? So that means if everyone in the world starts crying at the same time, the universe explodes? That's sick. Kinda stupid. That means a shot, man.
Warp storms ended up cutting off interstellar travel, and various human civilizations fell into isolation, technological decline, and...
Is that the Pope? I'm gonna pour one out for the Pope. He just died today. R.I.P. the Pope.
Barbarism.
Nice hat.
So basically, humans got really advanced technology spread out all throughout the galaxy. Then their AI turned on them. They had a crazy war with AI. The warp itself went bananas. Separated all of them, and all these advanced human colonies out there in the galaxy degraded into really barbaric, sometimes
space magic pirates.
This era was known as the Age of Strife, and it directly leads into the rise of the Emperor of Mankind.
So the Age of Destruction, then the Age of Strife, and then John Cena appears in golden armor. You didn't see him before. He was hiding, but now he's here. Bum bum bum.
Great Crusade.
Oh, the Great Crusade. Wait a second. Great Crusades do not sound good anytime I've heard about crusades that were great. I really hope this Great Crusade was very friendly and nice and they didn't murder whole planets for just hanging around doing not much.
So the Emperor of Mankind reveals himself as this powerful psychic being that's been with us forever and is here to help us go into the future. He begins something known as the Great Crusade to reunite humanity and bring order to the galaxy.
Oh, that's nice.
Then, because the Emperor was also a genetic genius and really good with technology, he creates super soldier beings. It's one of my favorite things about the Emperor of Mankind. He's a lot like Mr. Sinister from the Marvel X-Men books.
I don't know all these books. I don't know all these references, man. I don't know anything. One shot for the Mr. Sinister. He's 14 foot tall? He's 14 foot tall? Man, he must be packing a flipping bazooka.
First soldiers he creates for himself are the Custodian Guard. They served as his personal protectors and bodyguards, and they were these massive human beings. They were resistant to psychic attacks, damn near perfect in the way that they could fight. They had incredible technology and armor and weapons. They're damn near perfect, but there was a problem. They were just way too hard to create and to replicate. The Emperor couldn't really see himself conquering all of the galaxy with custodians. That would just take forever to create that many custodians. So then he created the Thunder Warriors. The Thunder Warriors were much easier to create than a custodian guard, but they were also crazy powerful, superhuman warriors. But there was a problem.
He looks kind of chunky.
The Thunder Warriors were unstable. But the Emperor figured they were good enough to conquer and unify all of Earth, or Terra, so he took part in what was known as the Unification Wars. And with the Custodians by his side, he and the Thunder Warrior army beat back all of these different warlords that were...
So he just out here, with his bare hands, Alexander the Grape, just fucking creating random people to clap every single planet in the universe. But does that mean... So all the humans were all over the universe? Why didn't he clap early? If he clapped early, then he wouldn't have had to clap all over the universe. You know? That's a shot for his stupid idea. He should have clapped earlier.
On Earth, the Emperor conquered all of Earth, but then he had him and his custodians destroy all of the Thunder Warriors. Next up was the creation of the Primarchs. The Emperor created 20 genetically engineered beings infused with incredible power and leadership. He used some of his own DNA, some of his perpetual baby mama's DNA, and he also made some kind of a deal with the chaos gods of the war.
Is that his perpetual baby mama? Bro, I'd be creating mad Primarch. I'm sorry.
It's unclear if he was given a portion of power from Chaos or if he stole a portion of the power of Chaos, but either way, he took some of the Chaos power of the Warp and infused it into these 20 Primarchs. But the Chaos gods, who for now you can just think of as these demonic beings in the Warp that are watching over what's happening in the material universe, yeah, they didn't like the
Big tongue.
20 immortal godlike chaos capable beings. And so while these Primarchs were still infants, the chaos gods disrupted the Emperor's plans and scattered the Primarchs across the galaxy. However, the Emperor still had the gene seed from the Primarchs, which is basically just a bunch of their genetic material.
I'm following.
And he used the genetic material to create the Space Marine chapters. And so then the Emperor had all of these different authorities, all of these different...
so each of the different Space Marine chapters are made from different one of the little children god people.
Space Marines that are essentially the sons of these father Primarchs, and also they are essentially...
Hold on, there's a lot of sons. Where's the sisters? Where's the sisters?
His own sons being made of his own gene seed, and then he goes out into the galaxy and he rediscovers each Primarch. Most of the Primarchs have become leaders of their respective domains on the different planets that they crashed on, but they all have unique upbringings, unique cultural influences, and also unique abilities. This is one of the best parts of the Warhammer lore, and it allows each one of the Primarchs to have like all kinds of unique attributes, and we're going to get into that, but for this video we'll just kind of leave it there. So after discovering all the Primarchs and putting them to work to unify the rest of the galaxy, the Emperor goes back to Terra and he begins working on the Webway. Essentially, he's trying to really perfect space travel through the warp for the entire Imperium. But the Chaos Gods, who remember were keeping a close eye on all of this and had scattered all the infant Primarchs, well, they didn't like what was going on with the Emperor, so they start to corrupt the Primarchs. Horus, who was named as the War Master over all of the Imperium army, was corrupted by the Chaos Gods and started...
Do they all have massive claws? Every single one of them seems to have a big old hand. Just really long fingies.
A rebellion. This is known as the Horus Heresy, and it happens in the 30th millennia, 10,000 years before Warhammer 40k. And even though the rebellion itself only lasted for between 7 to 10 years, its ramifications were felt forever, and it is the biggest part of the Warhammer lore. Horus gets about half of the Primarchs to flip to his side, and there's this crazy big civil war, a lot of devastation, some chapters of Space Marine almost being wiped out completely. Many of the Primarchs are killed, and it all culminates with a crazy battle between the Emperor and Horus himself. Horus is juiced up to the gills with a bunch of chaos.
Why has he got a siren on his head? That's a Warhammer thing. Time to drink. It doesn't get any easier. It doesn't. I'll spend more on the alcohol next time. This is hand sanitizer.
Chaos god energy, and the Emperor is the Emperor. And so they're fighting. The Emperor doesn't want to kill Horus because he still kind of thinks of him as a son. Horus is taking a lot of shots at the Emperor, like really doing some serious damage to him. And then something flips in the Emperor. He decides Horus is no good, and he does a Kamehameha wave attack that not only destroys all of Horus's body, but it actually destroys his very soul.
Oh my god.
If you're a Primarch, you can die in the physical.
Bro, that's so fucking... Bro, every overdone fantasy attack ever. Oh my god, it didn't only destroy his body, it destroyed his flippin' existence. He didn't even exist in the first place after this one sword attack. He wasn't even born after this sword attack hit him. Holy moly.
Form, but your soul will go into the warp and it'll linger there, and some of them even come back to life. But there's nothing of Horus to come back to life. The Emperor destroys his very existence on every level of reality.
I called it.
Horus was obliterated. But in order to obliterate Horus, the Emperor used all of the last bits of physical energy that he had, and it leaves his body completely decimated. He's essentially a corpse at that point, barely alive, and he's dragged to the Golden Throne where he's put on life support. And from there, the Emperor exists, being alive mostly in the warp now, and over 1,000 psychic human beings a day are sacrificed to the Golden Throne as a way to keep the Emperor alive. And that's it. That's all of War.
That is really messed up. So he went from being the king to just straight up getting bajillions of people absolutely clapped just so he can on a little iron lung on the throne.
Warhammer's lore explained briefly. Now, some people out there might say that's not all the lore. There's stuff that happens even before humanity exists. And I call that heresy. But also, yes, that's true. And
okay, that was a lot simpler than I thought it was. That was a lot simpler. That's the Warhammer 40k lore basics done. Maybe we dive deeper into this one. Maybe I figure it out. It wasn't too stupid. I did take some nasty shots, but you know, it made me unable to form a fucking sentence. That's what it made me. All right. Let me know if there's any other kind of lore out there that we can discover together. If it's stupid, I'll probably have to drink to get through it. See you again next time. I have autism.